Hacktivism. The use of a computer system to infiltrate databases, domains, or other computer systems for political, social, religious, or anarchistic reasons. The term hacktivism was coined by Oxblood Ruffin, a Canadian hacker that founded Hacktivism, an organization that focused on providing online tools to the broad community in order to promote access to information and circumvent censorship. Although there are countless hacker organizations, no better is an organization affiliated with Hacktivism than Anonymous. This vast and obscure network of black and white hackers linked across the globe was created in 2003 when a collection of anonymous users began a forum on 4chan with an anarchistic context. Unsurprisingly, the face of Anonymous is the terrorist hero Guy Fawkes, but they also have a logo of a man without a head, representing this leaderless organization. It is important to note that generally this organization is more of an affiliation to a collective than an organization. Nigeria has become a prime example of the resource curse acting upon developing nations. Despite billions of dollars being generated from the harvesting of this oil-rich nation, funding to certain regions remains lackluster. As sorely needed infrastructure and institution goes to increase in the wealth of multinational businesses and elite Nigerians, the people have grown restless. Occupy Nigeria was a protest formulated during the first days of January 2012. Created in opposition to the Nigerian government's decision to remove a vital fuel subsidy, this movement gained popularity amongst many hacktivists. This subsidy was crucial to the impoverished Nigerians as it allowed households to pay for transportation while also being able to allocate money for food and other necessities. These protests were met with brute police force, resulting in the death of over 20 Nigerians. Early in the protest, members of Anonymous's Nigerian cell waged a Tell Them How You Feel campaign. The cell phones of many government officials, including Vice President Nnamdi Sambo, were flooded with millions of text messages. After this initial cyber attack, their phone numbers were posted on social media, allowing Nigerians to personally message them and voice their concerns. On January 13, 2012, a report on the website of Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was posted indicating that several business executives and government officials had been mismanaging subsidy funds. Mike Adanuga, Managing Director of Con Oil. Femi Otodola, Managing Director of African Petroleum. Sayu Denata, Managing Director of MRS Oil Nigeria, and others, including government officials, were said to have defrauded billions and were arrested on corruption charges. Soon after, the commission quickly responded by stating that these reports were false and shut down their websites. As it turns out, Anonymous had shown their support to the Occupy Nigeria movement by infiltrating Nigeria's official websites and posting false information. Anonymous stated that any threats of arrests or investigation would be met with the release of Stuxnet on a Shell oil station. Stuxnet is an internet worm that would be capable of shutting down this oil station. It was shockingly clear to the media and government that Anonymous blew the cloud and held all the strings. The demands of Anonymous Nigeria were clear. They ordered that the government should cease the use of live ammunition at protests, eradicate corruption at the highest degree, and prosecute members of the oil cabal operating in the oil-rich delta. With the weak cyber infrastructure of Nigeria, hacktivists had a dangerous leverage on the government. Anonymous was created to destabilize states that have created laws that allowed for injustice. This directive is shown in the anarchist approach to bludgeon the state's authority and corruption. The goal of this disobedience was to eradicate the positive laws that were put in place. Positive laws that for far too long allowed the state and businesses to ignore the morality of their conduct and to ignore how their actions have impeded the natural rights of Nigerian citizens.
We are not only watching everything you do, but we are collecting evidence for the ICC in The Hague. We have relentlessly documented and disseminated information proving the complete corruption of our leaders. We will stop at nothing to fish out the unscrupulous elements governing our nation. The government must eliminate every form of corruption in high places.
Anonymous had proven that they had a gateway to the vital organs of Nigeria's cyber network, which meant that they were a serious threat to the profitable establishment. There are four main actors to consider in the Occupy Nigeria movement. Since 2006, militia groups in Nigeria have targeted corporations and the state gaining wealth, and not financing it into institutional development. In 2010, a Shell oil station was blown up with planted explosives by the Joint Revolutionary Council. Violence has been used in the Nigerian Delta to signify the powerlessness many Nigerians feel against corruption. Their goal was to bring more government funding into the impoverished regions of the nation. Traditional violence was the only way Nigerians could disobey their government, although, with the age of the internet, the state had another front to fight on. Interestingly, hacktivism has proven to be a stronger, non-violent tool against the government. With society's growing dependence on technology, hacking has become a more effective method to counter the state's authority than traditional violence. Threatening important business or government operations and establishing a revolutionary narrative, hacktivists attempted to remove power from state leaders. Hacker groups, including not just Anonymous, have targeted Nigeria's vulnerable network in several instances to influence legislation, reduce state authority, and to urge the government to take actions in rooting out corruption. Nigeria's resource curse has allowed government officials, executives, and the elite to exploit the citizens of Nigeria. Refusing to divert government funding to state development or passing corrupt legislation has aided in establishing a corporatocracy. Financing money into the pockets of the full, the starving grew angry. A nation that stonewalled its citizens were faced with digital worms undermining its authority. Anonymous's actions and threats of further action have been highly successful in combating the state. The civil, digital disobedience displayed during the Occupy Nigeria movement resulted in President Goodluck Jonathan reinstating the subsidy. Most importantly, hacktivists had control of the narrative and were able to quash any state propaganda. This meant hackers had the ability to shape public opinion. As a result of the vast and positive exposure, Occupy Nigeria was able to rally greater support, better organize, and frame effective proposals. As the world develops into a wealthy lifestyle, the importance of natural law in developing nations has grown. Food, water, safety, and housing are now expected articles within life. Thus, the definition of natural law has shifted. People are now entitled to a wealthier lifestyle on an unprecedented scale. Laws that violate these rights and our collective sense of justice are true evil. Nigerians and the broader community have identified that the positive laws imposed by the corporatocracy do not reflect Nigeria's and the world's collective sense of values and goals. As such, the positive laws in Nigeria that have allowed for this infringement on the natural rights became a target for Anonymous. This reveals that society has grown to develop egalitarian views and that markets and their actors should not remain unregulated. Furthermore, the controversial effect of capitalism's innate attributes cannot exist in the world's egalitarian views. As a result, the once accepted view of exploiting a nation to increase wealth is now taboo. Thus, violent flames in the name of natural rights have begun burning down the positive law establishment. In the case of Occupy Nigeria, the combination of sentiments to dismantle state authority plus the vulnerable cyber systems was the perfect battleground for hacktivists. The need to distribute the wealth was derived from the natural goodness of the egalitarian ideology of the New World, and the laws that prevent this are seen as injustice. Anonymous, being an anarchic group, obviously opposes any sovereignty ruling a people, meaning the motive of their cyber attacks is to remove positive laws. Although, Anonymous can only operate popularly when the state's laws and actions contradict their people's goals. Luckily, their goals to eradicate government power align with Nigeria's will. Hacktivists in the Occupy Nigeria movement only gained popularity because of the gross wealth disparity that the state had prolonged. The main goal of Occupy Nigeria protesters was only to enforce natural law, while Anonymous attempted to provide power to the people and eliminate the established order. These motives are intertwined but distinct. Anonymous's collective goal is to generate anti-power. Now, the motive of anarchy or equality is up to the individual hacktivist. Nevertheless, the cyber attacks during the Occupy movement was a campaign against the government. This case demonstrates how lackluster natural rights and extreme positive law is an unsustainable legal system in the era of the internet. Authoritarian oligarchies were able to subdue its people through physical power, but now a new power has risen. A new form of civil disobedience that allows the entire shutdown of governments or corporations. This never before seen power wielded by the people mixed with libertarian and egalitarian views means that positive legal systems without a strong firewall are at serious risks. Nations with weak cybersecurity that poorly represent their people's goals face extinction. The era of the web has granted immense new power to individuals in their struggle against the state. Governments have a new threat to address, and with growing technological advancements, this clash between hacktivists and establishments will only grow more complex. All in all, Anonymous has done good work in Nigeria, demonstrating that in this new world, civil disobedience can be more powerful than ever before.
And so beginning tomorrow, the great and noble people of Nigeria will take their place in the transnational global cyber insurgency and rise up in what many there are calling Occupy Nigeria. Their goal is no different than the rest of the Occupy movement, to remove the regime of greed and restore economic justice to the people.
Iconography, giving you the creep. Feel the man, disco lizard, tongue along your cheek. The rise of the machine. I must admit you gave me something momentarily.